much an honor. Thank you.
People that we look to now as beacons of hope, spearheading any kind of movement, decided, hey, you know, these rules don't necessarily apply to me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and follow my own.
Gallant is somebody that knows how to lead the listener to the end and give them a special feeling.
He's giving you what he wants you to know piece by piece. It's almost like a chef. I feel like I'm getting like a 12, 13 course meal when I'm listening to his albums.
He's one of the smartest artists I think I've ever worked with.
It sounds like they're paying attention to what it takes to make a great singer.
I don't think that Gallant choosing to be different is dangerous at all. I think that it's dangerous to not be different.
I've been talking to myself lately.
I never had the intention of making something that was anything other than extremely cathartic and told the story of who I was to myself so that I could evolve and progress as a human being.
A true artist is somebody that is always trying to better themselves without thinking about others.
I ran into a lot of issues when I tried to have some sort of control over my process. And once I let that all go, it was just about doing what felt natural and what felt right.
You know, artistry really is sharing a part of you with the world in a language that people can understand.
You look for music that speaks to your life, and to kind of hear where he's coming from and hear those common threads. It was just refreshing and comforting. It doesn't make you weak if you feel something or if you speak about how you feel. There's something special about a person who can understand that at such a young age, and able to use their platform to speak that out into existence. I think that's pretty cool.
Sell me something I use to catapult my value.
Going to NYU for music was interesting. Music was always the way that I worked through my issues, the way I tried to open up a little bit more to the world.
When Chris was a student, he always took a very intellectual approach to artistry.
He did an incredible job of being a businessman himself. He put out his EP on his own, gained some critical acclamation online, which is pretty difficult to do, especially from some of the publications that he got them from.
He stands out to me as somebody who had the talent, did the work, developed the skills to be able to express that in a meaningful way.
When I was in New York, I was in so many different circles during that period of time where I really was trying to do the industry thing.
He had various different forms of representation and people involved in his career in New York, and he was told numerous times he couldn't do it. He's described in previous interviews that the buildings in New York felt like jail bars to him, and he felt really claustrophobic.
The sad face that I wear and that's on the album, it represents a severe emotional state that I can kind of wear proudly on the outside instead of letting it get back on the inside. I put my own well-being, at the very top. But I had to make a lot of hard choices that at the time I thought were just the end, including moving to LA. I thought that was the end.
I remember the first time I ever saw him at the Bootleg in Silver Lake, and there was 9 people there.
He was playing as if he was playing in front of 100,000 people.
And he was the first of 4 acts on the bill.
He started singing, and this is one of the best things I've ever heard.
His voice is something to me that is not too far from a young Michael or something.
There's nothing like the energy that he leaves on stage.
Just a classic, wonderful, timeless R&B range. He's showing me where it can go in the future.
I'm pulling my way in gold.
My reaction to Weight in Gold was, I'm sure like many people, was just very immediate. I was drawn in straight away by how Gallant sounded and the confidence in the vocal.
Zane Lowe is a real artist's artist, and when he hears a record that, regardless of where it's coming from, a record that he thinks can move the needle musically, he's gonna get behind it.
If it wasn't great, they would have gone with whatever big name artist they could have premiered as the first world record ever on Beats One, but they made it Weight in Gold, and that was a really defining moment for Gallant as an artist.
It doesn't surprise me that we're here talking about him, whatever it is, 18 months after Weight in Gold first showed up. How often do you hear voices like that?
It feels incredible to have individual support from people like Quincy, from people like Elton John, from people like Seal.
Seal, who's somebody, he's a legend and an icon, but honestly somebody that personally I've looked up to for a long time. To be able to say that I've collaborated with him multiple times now is such a strange feeling.
I'm pulling my weight in gold.
In many ways, I see a lot of who I wished I was when I was at his point. You just seem a lot better at it than I was. And I say that with the utmost sincerity.
I love him to death. I love what he's about. I love that he's paving the way. And I love that he's the future.
Gallant's story is just beginning. I can't wait to find out what he decides is his defining album.
He has to kill what he did before, basically. You're always trying to one-up yourself.
I'm just excited to hear about what he writes now that he has an audience. It'll be interesting to see how he both satiates that audience and then also continues to grow.
Gallant is one of the hardest working and most artistically integral artists that I've ever met. When you work that hard as an artist, that you're eventually going to get to where you want to get.
There's just no equation for success. To limit yourself in any way is damaging to one's own, personal goal or individual story. Whatever is inside definitely is meant to be shared, no matter what it is.
Be humble with your creativity and gracious with your success. Just believe in yourself and do your thing.
I was born in a league of my own. I'm singing, so find me skipping stars.